Hello, I'm Bohemius, and I'm a guy who also reviews stuff, so you don't have to. 2024 has been off to a rocky start. We lost a few legends, we're going through a literal genocide, content farms are on the rise, and the pilot for my indie puppet web series did not succeed as I hoped it would. No, seriously, I'm still pissed off at the Doodle Dude show's failure. I had everything planned for its success, and more people should have gave a damn to watch it. It seemed like this year has been a real stinker for some people, but I couldn't think of almost anything, and I repeat, almost anything that had it worse this year other than Hollywood, especially with Warner Brothers. While it may be true that DreamWorks may haven't had the best start and Disney's future looks uncertain, the folks at the big old WB have been painting themselves in infamy recently, and that's no surprise considering all corporations would make lousy decisions sometimes. Just like with Ubisoft completely wiping off one of the best Fast and Furious coded racing games that I've never got to try from every platform. But what does surprise me the most is how one man ended up setting almost the entire company ablaze because they didn't believe in others harder than their own selfish choices enough. David Zaslav is a man who's the current CEO of Warner Brothers, but also had the power to fuck everything up for the studio, coming straight from NBC and Discovery before the merger. Zaslav was the man responsible for erasing it all. He laid off workers and utilized the toxic streaming platform industry to try replacing physical media, but most importantly, he'll forever cement himself as the guy who cleansed a huge plethora of shows and potential upcoming projects from the eyes bound to see. Zaslav was the guy responsible for taking some of the most underrated and prominent shows off the platform like Infinity Train, Mau Mau, Westworld, Xavier Renegade Angel, and Uncle Grandpa. Like, what the hell, man? Isn't the purpose of a streaming service to watch anything right at your fingertips? This is complete bullshit. More importantly, he cancelled promisingly anticipated projects for the sake of tax write-offs. That means somebody chooses money over an upcoming TV show or movie that many talented artists and crew members have been working on for a dedicated period of time, sometimes already nearly complete ahead of schedule, and they shelf what could have been a masterpiece that could save the studio for their own wealthy gain, like the Batgirl movie, for example, or Scoob Holiday Hunt. Those are two perfect examples of how so many dedicated men put their time and effort into making what they've truly desired, only for it to be gummy-gooed in front of their eyes just so the poor little executive can make a penny higher from their $20 million salary and put food on the table. I couldn't imagine what these poor bastards have to eat just to make ends meet. I mean, to them, a bottle of Dom Perignon and caviar would be the equivalent of a glass of water and a slice of Little Caesar's pizza. That's really sad. But I couldn't think of a better example than Coyote vs. Acme, a movie of one of Warner Brothers' most popular franchises, Looney Tunes. Now, to be frank, I wasn't the biggest Looney Tunes fan growing up. I was exposed to Tom and Jerry way more as a kid, but one of my fondest memories of frequently watching Looney Tunes were through the TVs displayed above me tied to posts whenever I was waiting in line for the rides at my local Six Flags in New Jersey. And while I did not fully enjoy them, I'll never forget the good old days of riding all the coasters at Great Adventure, though I was still a Tom and Jerry kid. But as I grew up, I realized the importance Looney Tunes had on others. It revolutionized the way we view the nature of cartoons in contrast to reality. It separates animated logic and physics from our real-world nature so they can prove that they're an entirely different and unique species. Looney Tunes was a true pioneer in that, from the traps that made it seem impossible to do in real life, to the illusions that usually work firsthand, but not the second one shortly after, and the injuries that depict that these cartoon characters can get back up and dust themselves off from whatever came to them instead of facing a bloody gruesome fate, meaning that they don't back down in their schemes, which shows a great example in resilience that people can reflect upon. In fact, Looney Tunes was influential in many ways. They inspired many of the world's most prominent animators by engineering things the old-fashioned way, which isn't modern, obviously, but still gives a rush after all these years. Looney Tunes demonstrates the importance of voice acting and the high privilege that they deserve in the animation industry, considering one man voiced almost all the entire characters. And they were also the one to innovate comedy the way we see it and continue the tradition of slapstick humor after the Three Stooges. I'd say the same thing about Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, and Rocky and Bullwinkle, except the former manages to do it slightly better than the other two, but I'd still consider them legends among Looney Tunes. And with all that, I felt bad that I didn't really appreciate the Looney Tunes more a long time ago because of that. I clearly missed the point that Looney Tunes had as much fun and action as what Tom and Jerry did. When I first heard of Coyote vs. Acme, I felt confident that we were getting a Looney Tunes movie with all the traditional fun and action adapted from the original franchise, but I was also a bit skeptical about it too. I thought it might wind up being within the same atmosphere as the 2021 Tom and Jerry film, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and might not be worth the hype. But then I looked at the behind the scenes video for it, and it made me realize that it could definitely have potential after all. Now, I can't show you the behind the scenes video for it as it was taken down, but it seemed like that this would be a promisingly unforgettable experience, and the fact that this movie got shelved even after it may have been already completed felt like a kick in the balls. It honestly looked like a pretty neat film with a lot of talented folks dedicated to lending a helping hand for it. Plus, I liked the story concept of how Wile E. Coyote would go on to take legal action against Acme after all the traps he bought from them ended up being a fluke. Even if I don't dig blending animation with live action as I used to anymore. Now, you probably already know how the fate of this project would eventually end up, just like Batgirl and other projects that have been cancelled, henceforth starting a revolution on the internet because of it. And I have to agree, this movie would have really felt great to be released right now. So good that it might have become one of the best Looney Tunes movies ever. But some like me might even say that it'd be so good enough that it can peculiarly remind them of another great movie from the past. There are a total of 3 Looney Tunes movies that blend live action with traditional animation, and it looked like Coyote vs. Acme would have been the potentially first one. And one of these movies gives me a somewhat positive vibe for the future of Looney Tunes as we behold it. One that's way ahead of its time and felt like the jokes would have worked in the near future, years later after its release. No, I'm not talking about A New Legacy, but something still initialized old-fashioned animation the way we see it. And I didn't really enjoy Space Jam compared to the other one that much. It wasn't a bad film, but I didn't really think it was that close to what reflected the true nature of Looney Tunes back then. So what's this movie I really enjoyed, you may ask? Well, there's only one way to find out. I guess we'll have to go back in action to figure that one out.
We're back!
Looney Tunes Back in Action is a 2003 animated live-action hybrid film that everyone forgets about once in a while. It's also considered to be my favorite Looney Tunes movie out of all of them, and one of my personal favorites. Why? It's got brilliant, timeless animation, the characters stick to their iconic nature, the comedy aspect is one of the most clever I've seen out of almost any movie, and some of the moments usually get way ahead of their time no matter what year you watch this in, and age well. And over 20 years later, it seems like it won't go out of style any longer. All of this would make Back in Action the most relatable and dedicated to the original source material out of all the original Looney Tunes movies, and I highly believe their layout would still work with many other movies in the future to this day. So why did the best Looney Tunes movie Warner Bros. Made flop? Well, it's kind of a rough translation. Albeit there have been other movies that performed significantly better than it during that year, this movie didn't save Brendan Fraser from his terrible streak of starring in bad films in the 2000s, even if it came after movies such as Monkey Bone and Dudley Do-Right. I'm not saying that Brendan is a bad actor, especially not in this movie, it's just that his luck is, well, not the best in what movies he's chosen to work on. Before the Whale, of course. I mean, in Back in Action, his acting is sensational, but I'm assuming that it really didn't do much to rescue Brendan from the Hollywood tar pit. Okay, I guess some of the characters can be a bit dry sometimes. The story might not get anywhere, and there could be as much product placement shoved in your face that's enough to yell, "Commercial, the movie!" But overall, it doesn't stop Back in Action from being a film that I still enjoy. And even during this time right now, where we're advocating for the works of hundreds of talented folks to not get shelved and permanently deleted because of money-related purposes, this movie has taught us that maybe we should have been grateful with what we've got as opposed to over 20 years ago. I mean, this looks like a film Nostalgia Critic would enjoy making an entertaining review on. He did talk about it once in his video, All the Looney Tunes Movies, where he goes over every Looney Tunes movie before Space Jam: A New Legacy, but I felt like he never really largely considered making a longer form review on it. You know, one of those longer Nostalgia Critic videos where Doug Walker goes on a zany adventure with his friends, White Girl, and voice actor for the buff cat from Lackadaisy, or at least a regular review entirely dedicated to it. Sure, he had some pretty valid criticism regarding Looney Tunes Back in Action, but a part of me tells me that maybe he should be recommended to re-watch it and update his opinions and findings about it if needed. I mean, if he enjoys Looney Tunes that much, then why not enjoy the movie that attempts to stick the original craziness of the franchise as well? I don't want to argue that much about him, but maybe he could also realize that maybe we should be super thankful that at least a Looney Tunes movie or two exist, because the upcoming ones might not be seeing the light of day. Still, as much as I wish for a full-on Nostalgia Critic video on it, I thought now would be the perfect time to perhaps go first and do it instead. Not because I don't want to keep waiting any longer for him to make a true review on it, but to show the world what really matters when it comes to fighting for your right to witness the continuation of a beloved franchise for generations to come, compared to an underrated masterpiece of a film that we should have been happy with to still watch to this day, because we may unfortunately never get a movie like this again. So with that being said, let's take a look at Looney Tunes Back in Action. The movie begins with a classic Looney Tunes cartoon about, other than you guessed it, hunting season, with Elmer Fudd going for the duck more than usual as Bugs Bunny trolls both Daffy into getting shot and me into realizing that Big Chungus was not invented yet over 20 years ago. After Daffy complains about the script, we get a glimpse at what Warner Bros. Is satirically meant to be, and this is an introduction to one of my favorite tropes. Every once in a while, when a movie studio canonically writes themselves into their own movie, they focus less on the accuracy and more of a humoristic type of vibe, a catalyst for being a joke if you may add, satirizing the existence of an actual movie studio responsible for churning out their own movie that they're being made fun of in always gets me. I mean, look at this. You can't look at two old twins in suits and tell me that they're not actual brothers representing, well, the Warner Brothers. Right? It even reflects on the employees and other executives too dressing up alike. And what's even funnier is that they even act like executives in suits, carrying each other's sentences later on in the film.
My films have made $950 million.
That's not a billion.
Nope, not a billion.
Stuff like this makes you contemplate at the bravery these studios used to have when it comes to breaking walls and addressing their own faults for comedy, letting viewers know that, hey, it's okay to laugh at any corporation, especially at themselves. Unfortunately, that practice of comedy isn't really shown these days because more and more studios usually start feeling fragile about their image and do insecure things that lead to temporary self-destruction. Almost nobody within the studio wants to take in the fact that they screwed up sometimes these days, and it can be really pathetic. Hell, even Mattel had the balls to reference their own product misconceptions in the Barbie movie, not just because they're actually brave enough to do it, but because they actually care about their company so much that they can even be brutally honest about it at some times too. And I think the reason to that is because nobody really gives a damn about the toy industry anymore. Nobody wants to buy their toys other than middle-aged Funko Pop collectors who are part-time small YouTube podcasters from New Jersey talking about obscure comic book facts in a Redditor-esque manner. Even in the official video game, their villain was a disgruntled, power-hungry executive for Warner Brothers. Well, disguised as one.
A Hollywood executive who's secretly evil? Should we be surprised?
Yes, this movie had a game. Remember when video games were instantly adapted from movies, but it had almost nothing to do with the original plot? Like, come on, man! I would have loved to see Brendan Fraser in that video game. It would have been great ripping his 3D model from the files and modding him into Bomb Rush Cyberpunk as a playable character. I mean, we already got a Mummy video game, so I guess that's close enough. Personally, I love having twin brothers serving as the prior executives of a studio, bending fact and fiction to represent the Warner Brothers, as opposed to, well, the actual Warner Brothers as a concept in this movie. And this similar type of comedy happens later on in the film, so let's carry on. So after Daffy Duck expresses how he's tired of being the butt of every joke, a hot executive, Kate Houghton, who's the vice president of comedy, shows the stats of Daffy Duck's popularity and convinces him that he is worthless, signaling that he is fired from the studio as they display the stuff they emptied out of his office in front of him. I mean, come on, you can't fire Daffy Duck, can you? He, makes up for the other half of the Looney Tunes. Firing him is like the time Nickelodeon released a SpongeBob SquarePants episode about SpongeBob getting fired. And boy, do you all know how that turned out to be. So instead of taking it like a champ, Daffy throws a big-ass self-destructive tantrum. Meanwhile, the local security guard DJ, played by Brendan Fraser, is auditioning to be a stuntman for the next movie.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree!
But instead flopped. After Kate approaches DJ and asks him to take out the duck, they quickly realize that Daffy escaped from her grip, which leads to a hilarious chase scene involving Daffy Duck trolling Brendan Fraser.
Bottom in fake New York.
Why is Batman in New York? He wouldn't survive a day there without getting tormented by the biggest clown there yet. Get out of here! You're not Spider-Man! Oh, and Daffy attempts to carjack the Batmobile before he gets caught. That's nice. Like that's ever possible.
Batlights. conditioning. Back to stereo.
Tell us about the plan to end hunger.
Well, it's quite simple, really. Almost facile.
But as soon as DJ shows Kate the duck he caught, the entire water tower collapses and floods the entire back lot. Wait, so there's really no Animaniacs that lived in here? It was just water all along! Are you saying that Yakko, Wacko, and Dot never really existed? No, this can't be fucking right. Clearly somebody hit the reverse switch on the dehydration gun and trapped them in a metal canister as H2O particles a while ago, right? Tell me this isn't fucking true!
Hey, what do you know? I found Nemo.
I can't believe it. My life has been a lie all this time. Now you're telling me that there are 2 Nemos that existed within the year of 2003. I can't do this anymore, man. Remind me to kill myself after I finish this video, guys. So DJ gets fired because of Daffy, and Kate decides to go to dinner with Bugs Bunny.
What kind of performance do you call that? You made me sound like a total space cadet, man.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I was trying to be real to your character.
If you like goof on me in the sequel, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, and I'll give you a Scooby Snack.
Nobody could forget this movie's homage to another recent movie adapted from a cartoon belonging to another Warner Brothers owned studio, Hanna-Barbera. No, seriously, the entirety of the dinner scene is one of the most satisfying scenes in this movie, with visible cameos from familiar Looney Tunes characters in it. But the interaction between cartoon character Shaggy and the actor for him in the live-action movie adaptation of his cartoon is the cherry on top. That's the original voice actor Casey Kasem arguing with Matthew Lillard. It's so baffling and amazing at the same time to see them here like this because it feels like they're breaking the fourth wall, but it doesn't feel like any ordinary fourth wall they'd break at the same time. Like maybe a subset of a fourth wall that we can't really identify. Priceless. Now think about years later when we have a scary robotic bunny video game character arguing with Matthew about his portrayal in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That would be cool. So Kate negotiates Bugs about trying to forget about Daffy in the upcoming Looney Tunes cartoon, believing that they would be better off without him, but he convinces her that you can't have the Looney Tunes without Daffy, and you can't have Daffy without the Looney Tunes.
Usually, I play the female love interest.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Well, nice to know that this wouldn't be the only time I get to see bunny boobies on screen. Thanks, Nostalgia Critic! Meanwhile, DJ peacefully comes back to his home alive.
Guess who? So did you miss me?
Oh, he's gonna die.
Who am I kidding? My career is over.
At least not as entirely over as Lily Jean's career, if she ever had one in the first place. Daffy Duck proceeds to commit tomfoolery in DJ's house until he discovers that his father is the actor for the famous fictional spy character, Damian Drake.
Playing an actor. In fact, I'll bet this whole dump is a super spy lair. Nothing is as it seems.
Snake Eyes. Ah, PAT! Hammerhead! Pussycat! Batman! Double hitter! Pickle Puss!
DJ then gets a call from his dad, who turns out is not only an actor, but a spy in real life, alerting DJ that he is in trouble and that he needs to go on a mission to find a precious object called the Blue Monkey. And you're telling me that he never told his son about his life as a spy until now, when he suddenly needs him to drive 4 hours to Las Vegas to ask some girl about a big diamond, like right now? Awesome! So Drake takes out his dad's old lemon and heads to Vegas, with Daffy forcing himself onto the adventure. And surprise! There's product placement. No, seriously, you thought the Alfa Romeo was gonna be the only car shown in this movie? This is an actual car of an actual brand of an actual country, unfortunately. I mean, have you ever played Asphalt 8 before? If you did, you probably know by now that TVR is an actual real-life British car company. A lesser-known competitor to Aston Martin, the equivalent of what Mario sees as Pac-Man in terms of competition. Sure, you don't see TVRs as much these days, but it's a pretty pretty nice little detail that indicates that if an Aston Martin can be James Bond's car, then fuck it. Why not make a TVR Tuscan Damian Drake's car? This may not have much to do with the movie, but I like being a car enthusiast. I like my interest in racing games. It's one of the greatest gifts autism gave me when I was first conceived. We head back to the studio with a viewing of a nearly revised cartoon where Daffy is out of the picture and Bugs Bunny gets shot. Unsatisfied, the Warner Brothers fire Kate from being the VP of comedy because the tune they made didn't make $1 billion.
You can't fire me! My films have made $950 million!
That's not $1 billion.
Nope, not $1 billion.
You know, being executives, doing executive things while looking ridiculous. I mean, while looking like executives, being way ahead of their time because the current CEO of Warner Brothers will look almost exactly like them years from now. So Kate has a mental breakdown and tries to reason with them to get her job back. Like, sheesh, lady, you think the whole world revolves around you? You are the one who fired the other half of the Looney Tunes. You should have expected the repercussions you had coming to you, and now you're acting like a, well, what's that word that ends in itch about it? Yeah, this really isn't my favorite character. I'll reveal more about why when we get further, but she strikes a deal to have him back by Monday and accepts the help of Bugs Bunny to find him. Brendan Fraser then lies to Daffy Duck about being a stuntman and appearing more in the Mummy movies than himself.
I'm a stuntman.
Ha! You a stuntman, please?
I am. Did you see those Mummy movies? I'm in them more than Brendan Fraser is. Oh no, you couldn't stand that. One day he decides to say, no, the Breadmaster does all his own stunts.
Note to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie is the wrong person to cast if you want to make this point.
Fuck here. Old chum. How the hell you cram it down? Spaghetti! Dave, listen, I think I can get you
Enclosed instruction book.
No! Not interested. I'm off to Las Vegas with my new sidekick to match wits with spies and showgirl. A little adventure I call Daffy Duck's
Dinner
for the Blue
Pingers!
And you're not in it. Blue
Pingers!
But little do they know that they're being stalked by a satellite directly linked to the real-life headquarters of the legendary Acme Corporation, run by the CEO Mr. Chairman, played by Steve Martin. This is one of the villains I don't really accept people's criticisms on. Like, no offense, I actually really like him. Yeah, he does act a little spastic and cringy sometimes, but overall he's just a really funny villain with the creative attributes. He acts way more cartoonishly in the real world for someone who's supposed to be an executive. He's supposed to represent this big, serious corporation run by black suits, responsible for all of Wile E. Coyote's weapons. Yet he acts like the right amount of goofy enough suitable to fit in the Looney Tunes cinematic universe. The dude's wearing sneakers, for crying out loud. He's like Bob Iger with ADHD. There's no real name to call him by other than Mr. Chairman, and his associates are labeled VPs of things like child labor and bad ideas and even rhetorical questions, who perfectly represent their titles as by testimony. He's if every child's dream of a big evil corporation leader came true. I'm personally his #1 defender. So Mr. Sigma of the Chadme Corporation plots to steal the blue monkey first and kill Daffy Duck. Meanwhile, the executive breaks into Brendan Fraser's home and tries to reconcile with him, even though he isn't here.
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly.
Oh yeah, and the rabbit is there too. But then Bugs Bunny gives the victim playing Bimbo an inside tip that Daffy's heading to Las Vegas with DJ, and they take the spy car there. Meanwhile, Daffy and DJ already make it there in their shitbox. Hey kids, can you count which casinos and hotels are shown in the scene and exist or not? Let's begin! Extinct, active, extinct, rebranded, active, extinct, renamed, active. But enough with the useless detail. Daffy and DJ walk into the casino with the intention of finding this Dusty Tales for information, while Mr. Chairman hires Yosemite Sam to take them down.
You've heard her before, you're not here now, so I say let me introduce you to...
Oh hey Foghorn! Haven't seen you lately since the Twitter memes where you tell Goku not to give up fighting Caillou or some shit. But they're in luck because Dusty Tales happens to be performing on stage, so DJ infiltrates the stage and convinces her to go backstage with the special Brendan Fraser Riz to talk about the Blue Monkey, handing him a playing card that might help. So they find a way to escape the casino by getting into as much mishaps as possible, even getting into Batman Arkham-style combat with adult Caillou and Moist Critical, the bounty hunter.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that.
And losing the card in a blackjack machine.
That's what I call a dramatic entrance.
Here's my money. Now play.
Hit me! Hit me!
No! Hit me, Nabbit! He's the boss.
Aha! Now that's funny. You see, you can't have a good Looney Tunes movie without gags, that's for sure. But once they run out of the doors, their car magically breaks apart like a douchebag throwing a Lego Millennium Falcon over the staircase, so they proceed on foot to evade them. Now, surely nothing else awesome would happen after that. I mean, we would just get a basic car chase scene, but that's it. Clearly there's nothing special the film wanted to show us this time, right?
It's a modified Chevrolet with a big 24 on the side.
Is that Jeff? Holy crap! Jeff Gordon! I can't believe this! All of a sudden, the movie just got 200% better! Winner of 4 Cup Champions, 3 Daytona 500s, 5 Brickyard 400s, the guy who carried fucking Hendrick Motorsports throughout his prime! And now the Pepsi car driving angel is in this movie. It's like my life has been enlightened with the joy of his existence being reminded upon my eyes. I can no longer share the belief of living in a world of darkness and despair any longer. I no longer want to kill myself anymore. I no longer have the insecurity of failing college, too. All that matters to me right now is that he's here to wipe away the tears from my face in the manner of clearing all the sins from my body. In thou stock car racing, his holy soul be bathed in purity. He's here in all his glory, in his holy angelic armor from the heavens, and his majestically faithful chariot, and that hairy midget guy carjacking it with his henchmen. Wait, what the fuck? So Yosemite Sam and his buddy steal the second coming of Christ's automobile and chase after the car. Extinct. When DJ and Daffy happen to run into Bugs and Kate with the spy car.
You!
Him! Her! Them!
Pronouns! So the chase continues with the Legends car and the TVR Tuscan, and this time they got dynamite.
Run out! But innocent people could be hurt. Run one out the window! It'll send the wrong message to children.
Retard! But they successfully evade the three, and Sam crashes the chariot into the casino, ricocheting Sam into a conveniently placed closet full of dynamite and blowing himself up.
Oh, look, a shooting star!
Pray, dear Lord, do not let Sam into the pearly gates of heaven for committing the ultimate sin of carjacking Jeff Gurdon. So the James Bond ripoff car acts like a James Bond ripoff car and flies a mile high across Vegas until Fraser shifts the wrong gear and sends them plummeting to their deaths.
Hello, my Warner Brothers stock. I got an inside tip that Bugs Bunny's about to die.
Haha! There goes my favorite line in the entire movie. Yes, it comes to a surprise that Daffy Duck is a dedicated employee so much that he actually invests in Warner Brothers financially. I wonder what his reaction will be to Warner Brothers' stock prices now after Zaslav took over. But due to this clever cartoon logic, they get stopped mid-air for a brief moment until they fall down and total the potentially street illegal car.
You know this all sounds insane, right?
Hey, you know what's insane? Your business choices, so can it, lady! The next morning, Kate bitches about being out in nature even if it's the desert. And you know what? Now might be a perfectly good time to explain why I hate this woman so much. Her character is written as a bossy executive notorious for making dicey choices. The movie unironically displays her to be seen as a love interest for DJ, and some of the viewers might agree with it, but the problem is that there isn't really that much of a strong chemistry between them. In fact, it's weaker than I thought. She's stubborn, she's always demanding, she manipulated the other executives into pulling one of the worst strategic business moves of all time by firing Daffy Duck, and yet they celebrate her as some kind of damsel in distress, or any other star-studded lover who's reliant on a male character to help guide her through and eventually build a stronger bond with them. It's the reason why I don't ship it. Sure, Brendan Fraser deserved a person like Ursula from Judge of the Jungle, and maybe Nell Fenwick from Dudley Do-Right, because they actually cared about him and what he was going through at the time, even if they were naive. But I've been having this feeling that DJ should have been with someone else for a while now. Not to mention she's too manipulative and always acts like a victim whenever confronted with the biggest obstacles, like being fired by a pair of Roger Ebert clones or the fucking desert. And that's the worst part of it. She's just a big, sad, lousy, workaholic burr. You could instead ship Brendan Fraser with a grilled cheese sandwich in the same manner of shipping Sonic the Hedgehog with a chili dog because of his disregard for women, for which 95% of the Sonic community don't recognize. But DJ and Daffy Duck deserved better.
That's the worst of it. You're just a big, sad bore.
But then a Walmart magically appears in front of them.
Is it a mirage or just product placement? Hey, who cares? With shopping convenience at such low prices.
Ha! That single line just made every bit of product placement in this film 10% less cringy. Honestly, if that single quote was added into every other movie with product placement, it would make them feel an inch better watching it, in my opinion. I mean, I like it when people address product placement as a fourth wall breaking strategy in movies. It actually does make it quite funny sometimes. Like such dialogue praising Walmart from Daffy. It's like they're canonically in the environment of a commercial, the movie, except they're more self-conscious about it and just don't give a damn at all. That's what makes this movie based.
Is it a mirage or just product placement? Hey, who cares? With Mountain Dew at such low prices. Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew. Your Mountain Dew.
Is this your idea?
The audience expects
Boogie 2988.
this kind of thing anymore.
So after the gang leaves Walmart and Kate changes into a more appealing outfit for her kind of environment, because let's face it, mean, irredeemable, manipulative, bossy rich girl equals sexy to some of you guys!
Where's Simmity?
Mr. Chairman gets over Sam's defeat and contacts Wile E. Coyote to help defeat them. But the PlayStation 2 3D asset, missile launcher, doesn't appear to work right.
I don't want to get too wrapped up in your little caper here, but let's just assume that you're right and Damian Drake is a spy?
Super spy.
But back with Bugs, Daffy, Bimbo, and Brendan Fraser, they walk into a magical portal which leads to a secret facility that apparently houses aliens. After Daffy turns into black tar found in lungs after 100 packs of menthols, they meet up with Mother, who they try to suspect is not related to DJ, but let's admit it, who even gave Damien a kid to begin with. But it turns out that they're not in Area 51, and are instead in Area 52. Come on, movie! The opportunity to name it Area 15 was right there! Oh wait, somebody else already took that name years later. Good place though. Wish we could have paid for Omega Mart. So back with the lovely enthusiastic Mr. Baseman, we're given more of an insight onto his silliness and his companies, as well as telling the Coyote to go straight to the shower after blowing himself up.
Now, just go take a shower and don't come back till you smell better.
And don't go right to the pool.
Can we go?
So DJ consults with his divorced parent about the importance of the blue monkey diamond and is shown an educational safety video about it. They then gear up for their mission until they're interrupted by the aliens who broke out of the containment cells by Marvin the Martian. And let me say that Area 52 battle scene might be one of the most well-balanced in this movie because it balances the serious of the main characters trying to fight off the aliens, like with DJ trying to shoo a head crab wannabe, with the clever humor of Bugs filling up an alien's oxygen system with pure organic popcorn. So after further investigation with the card, they predict that the secret message might be in Paris. But the big question is, how do they get to Paris? Yeah, makes you really wonder now, does it?
Like this.
Dude, what the fuck?
Welcome to hell.
Out of all of the power in the world Bugs has at this very moment, he chooses his most important crisis-averting one to go to Paris? He could have turned the page to LA, bring Daffy back before Monday, get DJ and Kate's jobs back, call 911 to take care of Damian Drake, and you're saying that he's been slacking off on using it until they needed to go to Paris? You used the one superpower that could have taken us home and you took us to hell with it. Thanks a lot, Bugs. Enjoy your Disneyland while you're at it. It sucks! So DJ and Kate Houghton, in an even sexier outfit like it's necessary, investigate the Mona Lisa to see if it has anything to do with the painting, only to find out that the card's true function is being a plastic window to view a secret map through the painting. A map of Africa? Now, what would Da Vinci have to do with encoding a secret map of Africa in the Mona Lisa? What's the purpose of Oh, forget it, this is a Looney Tunes movie. They're busy goofing off until Elmer Fudd mugs them.
Well, as it turns out, I'm secretly evil.
Wow! Me too, Elmer Fudd. As it turns out, I too am secretly evil. Now tell me where Alice Mark is! But as soon as Kate gets kidnapped, thank God, Bugs, Daffy, and Elmer invade a bigger art gallery and magically hop in every painting they laid their eyes upon. This is by far my favorite animated scene in Back in Action, and it's not too hard to point out it's everyone else's fave too. Eric Goldberg shows his knack of replicating many iconic artworks in the animated fashion so that not only it would blend in, but the comedy would work around the settings of them too. In this scene, we get a glimpse of Eric testing out different styles of art he and his team could animate accurately and precisely focused on the Looney Tunes characters at the same time. Eric serves beautifully animated tributes to artists like Salvador Dali, Edvard Munch, and whoever made this piece of artwork with the women doing the can-can, and Georgia Surratt. Is that how you pronounce it? It's genuinely awesome to see the Looney Tunes attempt to experiment the animation potential of these inspiring paintings, and boy did they try. But not only did they try, they actually did. And they do continue chasing throughout the hallway by hopping into different paintings, even if they don't retain the same iconic art style and bring alone the costumes inspired by the atmosphere of it, especially the part with a Sunday afternoon where they defy the laws of art physics and have Elmer Fudd blast off the particles used to make the painting, which destroys over 200 years of history and work of a dead man, but still pretty satisfying, including the part where Elmer Fudd retains his pointillism flesh and is blown away by Bugs before dropping this Sigma quote.
I think when you go to the movies, you should learn something.
So Kate gets taken to the top of Eiffel Tower, praying to God that she gets thrown off of it as well. DJ tries to fly, but his pants get blasted off, leaving the three bears to humiliate him, until DJ gets the idea of stealing Papa Bear's pants, that is.
I don't want any trouble. What are you doing there? I just want your pants!
Now clearly, Papa Bear doesn't deserve it, right? I mean, he was just an ordinary bear going on an ordinary trip to an ordinary hellhole. I mean, he's innocent, right? I take that back, he deserved it. I hope his wallet was in those pants. So after some weak-ass fighting by Kate, the henchman calls in a helicopter, which she grabs on for some reason. She then falls off the helicopter, but luckily DJ swoops in to save her with a gadget. Does an executive really need saving? I may be a fan of capitalism, but no way! I join the line at jerk-ass bosses. After Bugs Bunny successfully secures the card, Acme uploads the images of the phone they stole to see a clearer map of Africa, if it weren't for the duck.
Well, there's a fuck in the middle of the map. Remove the fuck! Remove the fuck! The fuck is in the middle. Give him a good zetz every once in a while.
My pleasure.
Everyone loves a good Peter Lorre. Michael Eisner on crack decides to unleash Taz as a last-minute effort to prove a point and to stop the gang in their tracks in Africa, who happen to already be there. So another quick costume change later, they encounter Granny, Tweety Bird, and Sylvester the cat, who happen to ironically be on vacation in Africa too. They happily give them a ride to the temple. Sylvester discovers Tweety Bird's cousins and gets wrecked by them, and Tweety Bird... is Tweety canonically black? I don't get the multicolored birds appearing in the jungle out of nowhere, but what's with Tweety Bird suddenly wearing traditional clothing all of a sudden? We're treasure hunting here. Also, you just canonically met George of the Jungle too. So they arrive at the temple with the monkey statue you've seen in the backlot at the beginning, and they're greeted with an iron barrel o' monkey's monkey, causing Daffy to throw a tantrum and get punished by the bird ape gods for not accepting their gift.
I've been rooked. That shouldn't happen.
Shafted by the gods.
Nice going, Daffy.
I demand Mountain Dew. I want my Mountain Dew. Where is my humongous Mountain Dew?
So a hot Jenna Elfman and an even hotter Brendan Fraser, I'm not gay, use their brains to discover that the tiny stone ape is actually a puzzle piece that activates a booby trap, developing quick reflexes on DJ to parry the arrows coming at them until the Jagoff executive finally manages to unlock the blue diamond for the taking. But then DJ accidentally touches the blue monkey and it turns into, well, a monkey, and then shortly turned back into a human afterwards. But it comes to a surprise that Granny and Sylvester were none other than Mr. Chairman and his henchmen all along, with Taz being Tweety Bird too. After making a fart joke in the hip cool 2000s, DJ confronts Mr. Chairman about how he knew he would be here, but instead, it's not Mr. Chairman, it's his father and super spy Damian Drake. So they have a little reunion. Just kidding, it's not Damian Drake after all. It's in fact the Space Jam guy holding a ball. Yay! Okay, that has to be Michael Jordan. Also, if you want to know a fun fact, this movie was almost going to be a sequel to Space Jam, until Joe Dante was stubborn about it, wanting it to be completely original instead. Also, how the hell is he supposed to unzip himself while holding a ball at the same time? Never mind, it's Mr. Chairman who commands his henchmen to use the first ever possible inspiration for the dehydration gun to transport the gang out of the picture. And what about the henchman? He turns out to be a waifu for Taz. Like seriously, what the hell is Taz's true purpose in this job? Wasn't he supposed to attack Bugs Bunny and his friends? He's one of the most feared and dangerous Looney Tunes characters ever made. He was literally commanded to tear their faces apart, and yet the henchmen literally did all the dirty work of getting rid of them. You're supposed to violently kill them, not get laid. Dude, talk about a total letdown. Just like the Logitech G-Hub software for all my computer gear. If you fuck up the sound on my Blue Yeti microphone by next update or next time I restart my PC, I'm getting a HyperX Quadcast or a Razer Siren! So they get, teleported into the Acme headquarters, and the chairman reveals that his dad is tied up to train tracks and dynamite.
Now, this, my friend, is the Acme trade of death, which is not good news for your father.
Don't worry about me, son. I've gotten out of worse scrapes than this one.
You see, if the trade of death doesn't kill him, then those crates of TNT will. Not to mention the 2-ton anvil hanging over his head, and... Oh, look, there's the Pendulum of Doom. What's the Pendulum of Doom doing there? I did not order the Pendulum of Doom.
I'm sorry, I just can't stand his silliness and evil intent at the same time. It's like if Megamind and Bob Chapek had a baby, and that baby went to school taught by the turtle for Master of Disguise. He decides to entrust the blue monkey into the completely different hands of a Toon, leading Marvin the Martian to fly to space with it. So Daffy and Bugs Bunny pursue after Marvin in space, and even key his spaceship in the process, while the chairman walks like his balls are stuck to one side of his legs to demonstrate his evil plan, and then sends DJ and Kate to the death trap, flexing his super old girlfriend VP in front of them. Surprisingly, they look like they have a better shipping chemistry than Kate and DJ, even if it's just a dumb old woman. Meanwhile, the antics continue in space as the yellow ship proceeds to be connected to the Acme satellite.
You know, when I fired that duck, I never would have seen this coming.
Then don't fire him in the first place, you really don't feel comfortable saying that in front of my newer subscribers and viewers anymore. You guys watch Super Mario Logan? So DJ and Kate untie themselves and rescue Damien. That is until a giant robot dog stands in the way as their final obstacle. A pearly CGI animated dog with unrealistic graphics that wouldn't really age well from that time. Nightmarish? I think not. Uncanny? A little. A bit bothered by it? Yeah, but I mean, it was 2003 at the time, so at least they tried slightly better with him than the elephant from Judge of the Jungle 2. Back in space, Bugs and Daffy buck up to fight Marvin the Martian one more time, pulling a tame Star Wars reference while DJ and Kate struggle to get past Robopooch. Then Daffy Duck has an idea that he will take on Marvin with his alter ego.
Duck.
That's right! Daffy Duck finally realizes that he's Duck. So while Daffy Duck's internet cartoon reviewer alias fights off Marvin, Brendan Fraser finds a way to restrain the dog and rescues his dad from the tracks, leaving Wile E. Coyote with the rest of the explosives up front. Well, at least Coyote had the last laugh of predicting the future experiences of the writers at Warner Brothers. After Marvin paralyzes Bugs Bunny, Daffy prevents the blue monkey from being activated in a last-minute attempt at being a hero by blowing up the fucking satellite and saving Bugs. This causes a mishap that turns the chairman into a monkey himself and have his plans foiled. It's okay, Mary. There are plenty of executives in the wide open land of Hollywood.
Alright, gonna kill myself now.
But after a reunion with DJ and his dad, Bugs and Daffy crash the ship into the Acme office.
You're the hero. You're the hero. You're the hero. Wait a minute. Pronoun trouble.
But it turns out that nothing was real, and it was all an entire government psyop, fourth wall break, revealing to be just a giant movie set after all. And of course, Brendan Fraser gets the last laugh by, well, punching Brendan Fraser in the face. Daffy finally gets easy with Bugs, and the film ends with this cozy credit sequence. No, seriously, I actually liked the animated credit sequence in this movie. It's nothing really that extravagant. It's just a simple compilation of the previous animated shots done by rough pencilmation. And that's what really carries the credit sequence. The simplicity of showing the fantastic work done by Eric Goldberg and his team, prioritizing the effort of the animators more by showing they actually care about the Looney Tunes. And the Looney Tunes franchise consisted almost entirely of animation. And I think that's why we don't get stuff like bonus post-credit scenes or outtakes. In the credits, we just get shown the outstanding talent of those who cared about the production of the Looney Tunes. Not to mention having two junior-senior songs played throughout the film in the credit scene and the casino scene was pretty cool and also fitting. Move Your Feet is one of my favorite happy songs to listen to, and its music video reminds me that it looked like it was made a decade later, as opposed to being released in 2003. And that was Looney Tunes back in action. And you know what? I think it's better than Space Jam if some of you dare to fight me on this one. Because I think this is the best Looney Tunes movie ever made. It may not be perfect for some people, but it's enough for Looney Tunes fans to see Joe Dante as Martin Scorsese for it, and it looks like a lot of love was put into production for that. The animation is gorgeous and adds in a little extra spice in execution while blending in with the real world. It may not be as toony as it is, but it kind of works for me. Eric Goldberg put a huge hand in bringing them to life in front of the big screen after Space Jam. The animation can bring out the most from illustrating the art gallery scene at Lover, whatever you pronounce that damn art museum in Paris, to even the simplest parts of the movie like the credits, a bop. Maybe it isn't all too professional with the robot dog, but it definitely brought out the most in dedicating this entire movie to them. The animation is the strongest aspect of the film. When it comes to character, Bugs and Daffy were the ones who stood true to their nature the most. They are the funniest characters in the film and even go beyond their boundaries in the real world despite the limits. But they aren't just comic relief characters. They walk like stars with high privilege. They act like children sometimes. The movie makes them feel like they're the main protagonists in this because of their profession in knowing what to do, being loony and dealing with whoever else is loony as much as them. Everyone else tries to take them seriously when all Bugs and Daffy and the rest can do is act like their normal selves of being loony. But no matter how loony they get, they will always still manage to reach their goal in time. That's what makes them slightly better than the real-life fleshy protagonists. Now don't get me wrong, Brendan Fraser's acting was pretty good for a goofy movie, showing that he can play both good cop and bad cop when dealing with someone loonier than him, and Steve Martin played a real mean goofy villain who was spontaneous and funny enough to reflect on the zany nature of this film, almost as much as the Looney Tunes do. They even made the executives look goofy too, but I really didn't like Kate Houghton for her personality and all of a sudden remorse on the wrong she's doing. Plus, Damian Drake wasn't much of a big help in the film too, being painted in the look of a super spy when really he's just a dingus in distress. But still, they all looked like they really enjoyed making this film, so that's good. And for an ordinary road comedy with adventure-like adventurous essence, the story gets infected with laughs as almost every single bit of it is fueled with gags, lots of them. They may distract us from the seriousness this movie can get, but most of them seemingly fit well within the atmosphere of the story. This might be one of the funniest family movies I've ever watched, and the references, fourth wall breaks, the acknowledgement of product placement shoved in your face, and moments where the movie gets way ahead of their time more than The Simpsons, all add up to the brilliant humor of this film. And unlike Space Jam, this movie didn't feel like calling itself Commercial the Movie, despite a buttload of product placement, and it definitely didn't serve a main purpose to parade around some celebrity at the time, other than Brendan Fraser, of course. It wanted to be a real Looney Tunes movie, a classic adventure where they bend space and time to manipulate the reality into making our planet look like a joke. Hell, even the original score kicked ass. The music was like a transfusion of Looney Tunes into the modern world, and I'm even more surprised that this was Jerry Goldsmith's last ever film he composed before his death in 2004. Even if it wasn't a success, Goldsmith gave it his all in his final moments of strength he had. Seriously, I'm still shocked. I just found out about it during the production of this video. Now believe me, this is not the only Looney Tunes movie that exists. Of course, there's Space Jam 1 and Space Jam: A New Legacy, but no matter what you say, Looney Tunes Back in Action has the strongest dedication to the franchise out of any movie, and I will forever stand by that. So recalling my argument from the beginning, I still think more Warner Brothers projects should be given a chance to have their creativity unleashed, rather than being shelved for tax purposes. Even if we may not be getting Coyote vs. Acme, what do we still have left of that Looney Tunes magic? Well, all is not lost because we're finally getting a new Looney Tunes movie soon. The Day the Earth Blew Up will be the first ever full-length, fully animated feature film of the Looney Tunes. Okay, maybe not the first ever fully animated film, but the first we'll get to see in a while. A long while. I have nothing but pure confidence for this movie, and I would highly encourage myself and others to go watch it whenever it comes out. But I still won't forget the potential of what could have been Coyote vs. Acme, if not already heading towards the shredder. Even if we may no longer talk about what would be, we should start talking about what it won't be, a movie. And I still believe that despite its uncertain future, it should still be talked about today in advocacy for other projects unfairly scrapped for tax-related purposes, and especially prevention from other projects heading for the same fate, because we don't want a fully completed project erased to save a cent, not without a fully good and acceptable reason as to why. Now, as much as I wish for the Nostalgia Critic to review Looney Tunes Back in Action, it may be a bit too much to beg for one, but seeing fewer YouTubers talk about Coyote vs. Acme on this platform, then maybe it would be awesome if Doug Walker talked about it too. The only ones who I could probably last remember talking about Coyote vs. Acme is Veilski Bum, Saberspark, and Electric Dragon 505 on his podcast, and that dude Animat has to be one of the most tame and enthusiastic reviewers I watched, despite his simple editing. It's like like the dude is so Canadian that he considers the name Dudley Do-Right a derogatory slur against Canadians. Though I suppose it would be a tad bit nice if the father of all YouTube reviewers took a bite out of it too. I don't want to pull a Mama Max and force the situation onto people in an uncomfortable manner, but seeing how he's a fan of Looney Tunes and many other Looney Tunes fans are exaggerating over the situation with Coyote vs. Acme right now, then maybe, I guess, it would be kinda cool if he did acknowledge it and talk about it sometime. It wouldn't be too bad if he also spreaded a little awareness about David Zaslav's action, like other YouTubers and reviewers do. Ew, ew, ew! I don't know. I just see Doug Walker being highly eligible to take on such a topic like this. But when it comes to reviewing this, or advocating for Coyote vs. Acme to finally be released, and give David Zaslav the consequences he deserves, then that's up to Doug to decide. But the bottom line is that yes, I did enjoy the film despite bombing at the box office. I do think that it still holds up to this day, and I do wish for more movies like that could be made by other studios in the future. With that being said, I do believe in the end that we should have all been grateful with what we've gotten, a Looney Tunes movie, even if it bombed. The same goes for Space Jam and Space Jam 2, but Looney Tunes Back in Action is an underrated masterpiece. I have been Bohemius, and that's all, folks. Hold on, I'll get it! Bohemius Productions, what else do you want me to improve on other than my speech impediment? Are you Bohemius? Yeah, I'm literally the owner of this channel. What's up? It is I, David Zaslav! Why is your upper lip white? I was in my office enjoying fresh Colombian blow when I saw your shitty video, and I hereby place you under the warrant of death for stating my name in vain and criticizing me in your review of one of your movies. Haha! Oh yeah, you see, I dead name a lot of people actually. That's not all! I also hereby place a death warrant on you for illegally saying the Gwimbly victory dance phrase without copyright protection. Oh, of course. My bad. I actually love Smiling Friends. It's my favorite TV show I'm currently binging right now. You see, I just got off the season 2 finale and... Wait, did you say death warrant? I'm gonna kill you! Good idea. I could have you placed in a court of law, but I'd rather have you placed in a field of death instead. What the? If you're gonna kill me, you'll have to get through my khaki pookie first. Who the fuck names a song like that? It sounds loony and toony! Like the critically acclaimed hilarious cartoon show Velma, for which you can stream on Max. Twice is the charm! Now let's rock! Not even your Devil May Cry style weapon can save you now! Here-ya! Oi, my balls, see me What the hell is your problem? That's not how you do it! Shut up! I'm an executive! One executive slang, you broke fuck! It's supposed to be like this! That's not how Curly does it, you fool! Well, excuse me for getting my sense of humor from whatever the internet throws at me for the last 16 years! How would you love to meet Skibbity Toilet? Oh boy! I would love to meet Brainrot, Mr. Zaslav! And hell! Yeah, how'd you like that, huh? I saw the face of Satan and he was mewing at me. I hope you like seeing stars as you usually do, boss. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh. You've had enough, executive. No! Hey kids, I'm Chef Combo, and welcome to my cooking show. Today, we're going to be cooking a banger tweet to post on the website known as X. So the first thing you're gonna do is prepare our oven. Hey Chef Combo, sorry to interrupt, but I need to use this kitchen as a fighting space. Hey! What are you doing? Ah! Now where were we? Oh yes! I've had enough of you, David! The time has come between this, David. Choose to release Coyote versus Acme or the fire. Is that so? Well, that's what they always say. No, please, don't cook me. I'd rather eat a medium rare steak instead of being turned into one. No! And now we wait. Oh boy, food is ready. Fresh executive lasagna. Time to see what greed tastes like.
Hello, I'm the nostalgia. I remember it. My little pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. My little... All because I owe a certain someone a certain favor. Yeah, okay, this one's a classic. We looked, then we saw him. Stepped in on the mat, we looked, and we saw him. The cat in the hat.
Today was a weird day. Isn't that right, pizza plushie? Come in!
It is I, Lily Jean, and I heard that you were making fun of me in your video!
Yeah, so?
Prepare to die, bully! Ah!